I potentially am forcing my husband to divorce me. I, 28F, and my husband, 27M, will be married 1 year at the end of January. Our marriage was forced due to needing insurance after getting accidentally pregnant 6 months into dating. Our son, 11 months M, was born in February last year, and we've gone through a lot together. But there is one thing I knew my husband wanted more than anything, and that was a big family. Originally, he told me he wanted 8 kids, which I was able to bring down to 4, 'cause 8 kids in this economy. After getting pregnant, I experienced the worst symptoms I could do nothing about. I'm talking Braxton Hicks at 6 months, nausea and morning sickness, bloating, diarrhea, yeast infections, one after another, along with UTIs, pneumonia, vertigo that caused me to fall down the stairs, 7 months pregnant, not to mention the worst depression and anxiety I've ever experienced. I ended up with preeclampsia and having to be induced at 37 weeks and 2 days only to have 47 hours of inactive labor with an aversion because my son was breached. They manually turned my son by pushing on my stomach because his head was pointed the wrong way. All the while, my epidural wasn't working proper since they didn't consider my height. I'm 6'3". I felt everything except my upper thighs. When my son was born, things were good until I had my gallbladder surgery as my last pregnancy symptom. Gallstones built up while my son was in the womb, leading to need my gallbladder removed. Of course, this meant I couldn't take care of my son fully because of the wounds and medications to help with pain. My husband thought the best thing to do was to call his aunt, without telling me, to take our son from me at 1 month old. I cried constantly because my baby was ripped from me without my knowledge it was happening beforehand. I was barely healed before I forced my husband to bring him back. I still get anxious if my son is with someone else now due to that incident. My son otherwise is an angel child, easygoing, adventurous, a full personality that makes me laugh like crazy, and is very aware how cute he is. I ended up becoming a SAHM due to my childcare not working out and no one able to watch my son when I worked. I am lucky to have been able to do that. However, it isolated me a lot more than I realized it would. While pregnant, my husband assured me his family would be a support system when I had my son, as most retired early and love kids. My family was not great to me, so this was reassuring. Now, my son is 11 months old, and the only time I get help from them is when my husband asks. They ignore my calls and texts, or claim they're busy even if I ask months in advance. My husband took a work trip to Hawaii while I stayed back home on the East Coast, only for my son to get 4 teeth coming in at once. This means, for those of you who don't have kids, I barely get 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night. This went on for weeks, leading to me being super emotional and exhausted. I asked for help so I could get a shower or nap, and I was met with silence or last-minute cancellations. Finally, my dad came, allowing me an hour nap before he had to leave too. I was /am single parenting, and to make myself feel normal again, since postpartum depression kicked my butt, I made a hair appointment a month and change in advance. This was a birthday/anniversary/thank you gift from my husband, and I was so excited about it. My father-in-law promised to watch my son, so it was a nice break. Except my FIL canceled last minute. His reason? He didn't want to drive to my house 30 minutes away, but only told me when it would be impossible for me to drop my son off and get back in town in time for my appointment, which I originally had no issues doing, and told him as much. This is just a small taste of the loneliness I feel, not mentioning the fact that my husband barely listens to me and had no idea the plans for our wedding, in October, honeymoon, in November, or our son's first birthday, all of which I told him multiple times for. Emotionally, he is distant, unwilling to understand what I need. For example, my mom's death date recently passed, the first time with my son around, and he hung up while I was venting my feelings about it to speak with his dad, who called. He never called me back or messaged me. I became a maid and mother, and when he's feeling it, object to get off to. Our sex life is non-existent, and I barely feel any interest in it, whether it's loss of interest in him or just hormones from giving birth, IDK. Recently, my husband began talking about trying for another baby, and the idea sent me into a panic attack. I love my son, but I cannot think of bringing another life in this mess of a situation when I'm the only one who parents. I know this may cause my husband to leave me, but I wrote out reasoning why I don't want any more kids, and am considering getting my tubes tied. They're below, the talking points, so I don't forget or miss anything. Money. Son is already super expensive, and as he grows, I want to be able to give him as much as I can without having to sacrifice his happiness for younger siblings. I want to gift him trips and have the option for him to go to college if he wants without debt. It also means we won't need a bigger house, car, etc. Hard pregnancy. It's scientifically proven that the sperm contributes to symptoms and complications during pregnancy. For 10 months, I had the worst complications and symptoms, only to not be believed when I had preeclampsia. I don't want to experience that again, and I hated how I felt. Childcare. Son is not able to get childcare because we can't afford it. I eventually want to go back to work, and I won't be able to do that if Casper is the eldest, meaning I'd have a 10-year gap on my resume leading to lower wages. Our family also showed they do not want to contribute to him being watched. Lack of support. When I was pregnant, you promised your family would be there to support us when we had son. Your mom sucks, dad can't communicate, brother has his own issues, aunt can't return a text or call unless it's from you. The support comes from you asking, not me. They're always busy when I ask. The only person who responds is cousin. And I don't want to impede her days off with children I am overwhelmed with. This work trip has made it clear I am the last priority for your family, and I am not willing to go through this problem 3 more times. Being a dad. While I love you, you've shown me as a partner, after being a dad, that you are not present. Showing up and giving money to support us is great, but San needs a dad who pays attention to him.